This is the AI Music Revolution, brought to you by JG Beats Lab. JG Beats Lab is a methodology company for serious musicians working with AI tools. Not tips, not hacks, a complete system for getting consistent professional output from platforms like Suno and Murica. We call it the unlocked system. The framing is simple. You can be a vending machine operator, pressing buttons and accepting whatever the AI gives you back, or you can be a director, understanding the platforms well enough to get exactly what you want from them. Lane 2 work, human-authored, AI-assisted music creation. That's what this show is built on. Here's today's episode. Hello and welcome to the AI Music Revolution. I'm your host, Josh Gedlovian, the founder of JG Beats Lab. Today we're talking about waiting. Specifically, what happens when you wait for AI music to be perfect before you even start, and why the people building real catalogs right now are not waiting for anything. We're also going to get into mastering and why the entire art versus science debate misses what actually matters when you're trying to release commercial music. And later in the episode, you're going to hear from Doug Arrowwood, who 6 weeks ago had never made a song in his life, about what he meant when he said he'd been a passenger his whole life and suddenly found himself in the driver's seat. This is the AI Music Revolution. Let's get into it. First up, the big idea. So there's a specific kind of person I keep running into in this space, in the world of AI music. They've been watching AI music for a year, maybe longer. Maybe they've tried Suno once or twice. They've seen what it can do, but they're waiting. They're waiting for the tool to get better. They're waiting for the legal questions to settle. They're waiting for the market to mature. They're waiting for some signal from somewhere in the universe that tells them, now it's safe to start. I want to be direct about this. That signal is not coming. And by the time it does, the window will have already been closed. Here's what is actually happening. AI music platforms are improving on roughly 90-day cycles at this point in time. Suno went from V3 to V4 to V5 to 5.5, Studio 1.2, all of that in less than 2 years. Murica launched and matured in months, not years. The output quality of these tools today is dramatically better than it was when most of the people sitting on the sidelines first looked. And it's going to be dramatically better 6 months from now than it is today. The instinct is to wait until the tool is done. That sounds reasonable, right? But the tool is never going to be done. It is a moving target. The creators who started 2 years ago, when the output was much rougher than it is today, built their entire catalogs through that imperfection. They learned the workflows. They built audiences. They positioned themselves. By the time the tools got good enough to convince, the skeptics, the early movers already had 2 years of catalogs, 2 years of process, 2 years of audience trust. That's not catchable in 90 days, no matter how good the tool gets. The other version of waiting is waiting for permission, waiting for the lawsuits to resolve, waiting for the major labels to formally bless AI-assisted creation, waiting for the cultural conversation to land somewhere stable. I'll save you the suspense. The lawsuits will get settled. The lawyers will get paid. The major labels will integrate AI tools into their workflows quietly while shaming independents publicly. Independent musicians who waited for permission will find that permission arrives exactly when it is no longer useful. The window for early mover advantage will be closed by the time anyone tells them it is open. Here's the actual question worth asking. 6 months from now, when AI music is even more capable than it is today? Do you want to be the person who has 6 months of catalog, 6 months of workflows, 6 months of audience building? Or do you want to be the person who decides to start? Both versions of yourself exist. The only thing that determines which one you become is what you do this week. Today. Speaking of doing the work, next we're going to talk about mastering, specifically why the people who treat it as either pure art or pure science are leaving money on the table either way. Let's get into it. Section 2, the practical system. Here's a debate that gets stuck in two camps. Camp 1 says mastering is an art. It's about taste. It's about the experienced engineer's ear. You can't reduce it to numbers. Camp 2 says mastering is a science. It's loudness targets, frequency analysis, dynamic range. The numbers tell you everything you need to know. Both camps are wrong, or rather, both camps are half right. And the producers building actual catalogs that actually sell understand the half that each camp gets wrong. Mastering is technical when the question is whether your track meets the floor. Are your levels in the right range for streaming? Is your frequency spectrum balanced? Are there problems in the low end that will make the track sound thin on phone speakers? Is the dynamic range appropriate for the platform you're delivering to? These are not opinion questions. They're measurable. If you ignore the measurements, your track will get rejected by playlist curators. It will sound bad on the platforms that matter, and it will underperform, regardless how much taste you have. Mastering is artistic when the question is whether your track is interesting. Two tracks can both meet every technical specification and still feel completely different. One can feel alive, the other can feel sterile. The difference is not measurable. It's a series of small decisions about which frequencies to emphasize, where to leave headroom, how to handle the transitions between sections, what to push forward, and what to let breathe. These decisions require taste. They require listening to the track in context with other commercial work in the same genre. They require knowing what the track is for. The mistake the science can't make is assuming that hitting the technical specs is enough. It's not. Hitting the specs gets you to the floor. It does not get you above the floor. There are millions of tracks on Spotify that hit every technical spec and nobody's listening to them. The specs are necessary, not sufficient. The mistake the art camp makes is assuming that taste alone is enough. It is not. You can have the best ear in the world, and if your master is too lufs, too quiet for the platform you're delivering to, listeners will skip it within seconds because it sounds quieter than everything else in their playlist. Taste without technical execution gets ignored. The producers I work with who are actually building catalogs that earn revenue understand this. They use the science to clear the floor. They use the art to climb above it. They run their tracks through measurement tools to confirm their in-spec. Then they listen with intention against reference tracks to make the taste-driven adjustments to the elements that the spec sheets just don't capture. If you want to learn this approach in practical terms, the new book we released, Unlock Reaper, Mastering AI Music, walks through exactly how to set up a mastering chain in Reaper that does both jobs. The technical chain that gets you to the spec and the taste-driven decisions that get you past it. It's available on our site or at Amazon, jgbeatslab.com/store, $8.99. Now, I want to bring in someone whose journey embodies both sides of what I just talked about. He doesn't have a musical background. He's 6 weeks into using these tools. And in that time, he's gone from someone who pressed play on other people's music his entire life to someone who is sitting in the driver's seat of his own creative output. Here's a clip from my conversation with Doug Arrowwood. Quick break in the episode. If what you're hearing today is connecting with you, the place to start is the Minimum Starter Kit. 3 books, $27. Make it, release it, promote it. The first book is Unlock Suno, the complete guide. This is the methodology for getting consistent, professional output from Suno. The Suno Stack Mental Mode, Persona Work, Style Box Weighting, the Director's Cut Workflow. The second book is Unlock Music Rights and Registration, Royalty Collection, Copyright Protection, ASCAP, MLC, Sound Exchange, DistroKid, and the disclosure landscape we're now operating in. Everything you need to actually get paid for the music you're releasing. The third book is Unlock Music Promotion, how to get heard once your music is out there. Playlist pitching, audience building, the platforms that move the needle and the ones that don't. Make it, release it, promote it. $27 at jgbeatslab.com/store. Back to the episode. From Tuesday's Red Lab conversation. Let's get into it.
More people can have an aspect of that, because when I first got into this, I suddenly realized, hey, I'm in the driver's seat. I've never been in the seat before. I've always been one of the passengers in the vehicle. I'm just lucky if I get in the right vehicle because I like the music in this vehicle. But now I'm in the driver's seat and I can choose which car I want and I can choose which direction I want to go in. Yeah. These avenues have opened up to me that I never saw coming before.
I can hear the creative excitement in your voice.
I'm an artistic person, Josh. I did some work in the scenic art business in Orlando. I worked for Disney, Universal. I did TV, movies, stages. I'm very artistic when it comes to painting. I'm very artistic when it comes to my woodwork. I'm very much a creator. I like to write. So I've got that creative side to me. And this provides an outlet that I never thought I would ever have. And music is something I feel passionate about. And when I listen to it and I listen to my favorite tracks, I get into them. I so get into them. And now I've got my own music, which I can really get into. And I feel passionate about it. It literally sometimes brings a tear to my eye. Yeah. And I'm just overwhelmed by what it can do for me and what I've been able to do with it.
Looking forward, 6 months from now, where do you see yourself on this journey with AI music?
My plan is, like I said, I want to get a couple of albums and I want to release them, however I decide to do that. I've got to go through some of your documentation to teach me the best way to do that. Then when I've got that out, I really want to start getting to the point where I go to creating a different type of band. My next one I want to produce is more of the singer-songwriter type that sings something. It's upbeat, positive, more of like a summer touch of reggae to it. Just singer-songwriter, touch of reggae, beach type of inclination, something that's just going to be happy music, so to speak. So that's one of the next things I want to do. But there's also a side to me that wants to get into real weird stuff too. That produces music that's just uses unconventional approaches, unconventional wording, unconventional everything. My tastes are very varied. I remember when I was a kid and we would buy music, a lot of my friends, they would zero in on one type of music or several types of band. I liked it all. Mm-hmm. I liked everything. I liked a bit of this. I liked a bit of that. That was my problem, is that I couldn't stop buying records. And I got this great collection. I've still got some of them with me here today. Nice. But I absolutely love music. It's such a driving force and it's so positive, and now it's at my fingertips.
That was Doug Arrowwood. 6 weeks. From someone who pressed play on other people's music his whole life to someone who has 25 tracks he can listen to 20 times in a row and still want more. Someone writing pages of lyrics before breakfast. Someone with a keyboard in his Amazon wish list because the tools made him want to learn more, not less. That's what waiting costs you. Doug didn't wait. He didn't wait for the tools to be perfect. He didn't wait for the legal questions to resolve. He didn't wait for permission. He started 6 weeks ago, and he's already in the seat. The technical and artistic tension we talked about earlier, Doug is solving in real time because he's actually doing the work. The full conversation with Doug is on Red Lab Conversations Episode 4. Worth your time if today's clip resonated. If you want everything I've published, the books, the research reports, the blueprints, the community of people doing this with intention, Red Lab Access is the move. jgbeatslab.com/red-lab-access. Link is also in the show notes. Red Lab Conversations drop when we have a story worth telling. AI Music Revolution drops every Friday. Subscribe so you don't miss either one. The seat's been empty your whole life. It's time to get in. Stop generating. Start directing. One more thing before you go. Every Thursday morning, I send out a newsletter, one email a week. It's where I share what I'm working on in the studio, the research running the lab, and the methodology I'm refining in real time. New books, new blueprints, new findings from the Red Lab protocol research. If that sounds useful, the sign up is right on the homepage at jgbeatslab.com. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next Friday.